So here's the thing. Let's get into the Marvelous conversation that I want to have here. And that is that anything related, this is Marvelous's their English site, right? So this is marvelous.com, their English site. This is, I guess, their European site. We could look at XSeed Games, which XSeed Games is Marvelous's North American branch, which is US, right? But Marvelous recently updated their European website, right? This is their US site right now, right? So this is XSeed Games. Now, the thing that I found out, I found this out last night. This was after doing the PlayStation press event and all that kind of stuff. I was on the computer, and I was alluded to the fact that Marvelous removed any mention of Senran Kagura from the website. I was doing I was having a conversation, I was doing some research, and I found out that Marvelous removed all mention of Senran Kagura from their website. There's no mention of it on the Marvelous website. So even if you search for Senran Kagura, it won't come up. And essentially, there's nothing here for it. Like the games they have on their site, these are all the games Marvelous has on their site. From The Legend of Hero Trails of Cold Steel 1, which is a game that they're no longer producing for, but it's still here. And they've Cold Steel 1 and 2 are here. But they've removed any Senran Kagura mention. Like it is gone. They do not want to be associated with the Senran Kagura name at all. It's dead to them at this point in time, right? And they're much more focused on other experiences, right? And again, shout out to Story Seasons of Wonderful Life. This is going to be huge for me. Like this is definitely a huge game for me, and we'll talk about this another time. But Senran Kagura to Marvelous and XSeed Games is dead. If you go to XSeed Games website, they still have Senran Kagura on here. So they've got Senran Kagura Burst, and these are, you can see all the games that have been removed from their site that are no longer being showed on here. I think Corpse Party is also not there anymore. Yeah, there's no. Oh no, there's Corpse Party. Corpse Party is still there. Kandegawa Jet Girls is gone. Akiba Strip is gone. Again, these were the games that an XSeed Games or and Marvelous was known for. Like you'd get some risque games that you wouldn't get anywhere else, and that was fine. Fate, is Fate still on there? I think they would have removed Fate as well, because Fate got some honey in there. Like I think they dropped Fate. Fate is not there. Like wow. Yeah, so they've got no mention of any of these other games that they've localized, and you just look at the amount of Senran Kagura games that have just gone the way of the dodo boot. They've just basically gone away. Senran Kagura, it's probably dead at the point of it is dead at this point. And there's more to it, because I've got some articles here that go even deeper into it, but I will get to that in a second. Okay, so someone type something in the chat. Let me just see if it's gonna pop up their face before I continue. So yeah, just drop a comment. It could be anything, almost anything. Now I need to stand out without relying on Senran Kagura. Well, to be fair, you can already stand out as Rune Factory. Rune Factory shit. Let's just put it that way. Story Seasons is awesome, but I'm sorry, Ace. I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. Rune Factory is shit. Like it is, in the words of as Duke just put it there, Rune Factory is ass. Too money maker. Like who the frack is buying Rune Factory in such that? I don't think Rune Factory is a system seller. Like I don't think people are out there like, oh, I need to get a Rune Factory. Like Senran Kagura was a seller, and again, we're gonna get to that in a sec. Rune Factory is ass. So anyway, so they've removed all semblance of this. This is their new website, and the XSeed site has not been updated recently. So I'm assuming when this site gets updated as well, it's also going to lose the Senran Kagura mentions on their website as well. Because XSeed is tailored towards North America, and it'd be North America and the whole censorship and all that kind of stuff. It's gonna happen inevitably. But let's start going down the rabbit hole as to what's going on with Marvelous, right? So I've got a series of articles, right, that cover the whole shebang of what's going on with Marvelous and all that kind of stuff. So this article starts with Marvelous Western Localization Division omits all mention of Senran Kagura series from their from official website. And this is the one that I came across that basically highlighted to me that Senran Kagura was gone, and they were no longer tailoring stuff to what they would like. This was dead to them, right? And there's there are some key points in this article where it goes over a couple things about it, right? So developed by UK marketing agency Pixel Kicks and unveiled to the public on August the 23rd. So this was very recently. We are now on September the 14th at the time of this, like I'm doing this video. So this was not too long ago that they updated their website and removed Censoring Kagura, any mention of Censoring Kagura from the website. You can't even search it, as you can see here. Like if you search for Censoring Kagura on the website, it just doesn't come up, right? So if we type on the search bar and you type SENRAN, nothing will come up. No results found for this particular game, right? And the absence from Japan's top ninja academy can be seen across the website, including on their own internal search engine. It goes on further to say that as well as the catalog list of the developers' own titles, wherein Censoring Kagura noticeably absent from such collective categories as action games, and a genre which is all about series of spin-off series like New Wave, Bon Appetit, Peach Splash, Reflection, New Link, and Peach Ball. These are all spin-off games from Censoring Kagura. Reflection is shit, by the way, but I have a review for it. You guys check out my review of Reflection. Reflection is trash. But Peach Ball was pretty decent. I wish they did more for that game, actually. And Peach Splash was actually, again, also a very good game. I wish it got more of like, I wish it hooked in more and it got more people in, you know, as a multiplayer game, but it just didn't kick off for them. And PlayStation 4 games, which is particularly notable for the fact that the majority of the series mainline games originally released on a Sony platform, right? And let me see if they have more here. So it says here, by contrast, Marvelous Proper's official Japanese website not only 33 results encompassing most every Censoring Kagura title when searching for the thing. So essentially, they are still pushing Censoring Kagura in Japan. It's just not happening in the West. So their Western division is like, you know, screw Censoring Kagura. But if you go to Marvelous Japan, Censoring Kagura is still there. They still have the Censoring Kagura games over there. Now, are they putting out new Censoring Kagura games? That is to see. That is yet to see if they are pushing new Censoring Kagura games or not. I know they have a mobile game, and you guys know what I think about mobile. Mobile is trash, right? So I'm not interested in that at all. They've got no hook for me. I did enjoy Burst Renewal. I did enjoy Burst Renewal as well, dude. That's such a good game indeed. I did feel like they started to, Burst Renewal was on the downward slope where they started to actually like censor their games more. But I did enjoy Burst Renewal. You know, and as an overall package, I did enjoy. At the end of the day, though, my favorite Censoring Kagura game to date will still forever be Estival Versus. I think Estival Versus was peak Censoring Kagura, and I think they just needed to continue along that line. But yeah, they didn't. So but continue. Their website has a lot of Censoring Kagura mentions and all that kind of stuff, as well as new blog which provides players with a semi-regular updates regarding the series. So they have continually been giving updates about the Censoring Kagura series and the Censoring Kagura games and all that kind of stuff, despite the attempts to scrub their website or any mention of their association from the games. The first Google search result for the company's Marvelous Europe listing since deleted promotional page posted by the subsidiary in promotion of the Censoring Kagura Reflection dating sim. And this is the thing, right? The fact that Censoring Kagura Reflections is the first thing that the first game that comes up when you search for Marvelous Europe in Google. And let's actually put this to a test. Actually, let's search for let's see if it still comes up. Marvelous Europe. Okay, so it's no longer there. But the fact that Censoring Kagura was the thing to come up in that hook, that meant that Censoring Kagura was getting a lot of searches. Like, people were actually going to that page a lot on their website. It's no longer there because obviously time has passed and it's had time to wash away. But it means of all the games that they had on their site, more often than not, people were going to Censoring Kagura. They were looking for that, right? So they as a company had a market for Censoring Kagura. People wanted it. People were interested in it. People were buying it. Those games sold. Right, those games sold really well for Marvelous. It's not as if the Censoring Kagura games were not selling. They did sell, right? Especially the mainline games. They sold well enough that they were good, right? And especially with DLC and all that kind of stuff, that also sold well for them as well. And keep it in mind, this is Marvelous. They do put a lot of focus into their DLC and all that kind of stuff, and they try to charge it. They're like I guess like Koei Tecmo. No, I don't think anyone is on Koei Tecmo's level of DLC monetization stuff, but XSeed is around those parts essentially. I don't care. Censorship, to be honest, my least favorite XSeed published game, and that's the thing is that's perfectly fine that you don't care about Censorship, and there are people who don't care about Censorship. But here's the thing: if you like XSeed games, right, and you want XSeed games to, you want, like, for example, your favorite XSeed game may be, for example, Rune Factory, right? Let's say, for example, you're a Rune Factory guy and Rune Factory 5 is your favorite game. Rune Factory 5 is not a system seller game. Like, that's not selling bucket cakes, and it's not making XSeed this grand amount of money compared to like a Censorship, right? A lot of these other games don't really move the needle in comparison to what a Censorship would do, right? And in the same way, like for me, I don't care about Rune Factory. I'll be straight up. It's my least favorite sort of what do you call it? I think Rune Factory is one of my least favorite RPGs in general. I don't like the idea that, and I've said this before, I've said this on so many occasions, I don't like the fact that they've mixed farming with RPG stuff. I like my farming separate, I like my RPG separate. Because like, for example, I'm a huge Story of Seasons fans. Love Story of Seasons, right? And of course, I love other JRPGs as well. I love JRPGs separate from that. I just don't like them together. I don't like the idea of I'm focusing on farming. Like when I play a farming game, I want to sit, I want to enjoy my dating sim aspect of it. I want to enjoy that sort of thing. I don't want to have to be bouncing between, oh, I need to pick some apples, and then I need to go and drop something for my waifu character, and then I need to go kill some monster in a dungeon. No, that for whatever reason, and it's probably because I've got weird OCD with regards to organization and structure. Things need to have a structured way of being, like not that that I can't have both things, but in separate consumption, right? Like not in the same game, right? So that's the main reason I don't like Rune Factory. I find it's not focused. Rune Factory sold 500,000 on Switch alone. Hey, I did not know that. Rune Factory 5 sold 500,000 on Switch alone. Well, good for Rune Factory 5, right? But here's the thing, not good for Marvelous, and we're gonna get to that in a second, right? It's not attempt to scrub it from the website, blah blah blah. Yeah, where were we? Reaction data the same. All right. This is a version to arguably one of if not the developer's most popular franchise, which Censorship is their most popular, or was their most popular franchise, by its Western branch following the 2019 exit of the creator and producer Kenichi Takaki, which this is when Takaki left because of his issues with Sony, but and the censorship of the games from Marvelous over concerns related to translated via to recent restrictions on sexual expression. Sexual expression are criticized by sexual expressions are criticized, but there are also many people who enjoy them. He explained to Japanese video game magazine Fumatsu in 2019. I believe that such variations were one of the things that supported the game industry, but I was surprised at how easily they could be destroyed. I welcome regulation and restriction to protect specific genres and ranges, the producer concluded. However, I feel the current trend is definitely aimed at destroying them, and that's the thing. I also welcome regulation. I'm a strong believer in having rating systems. I'm a big fan of the ESRB. I'm a big fan of the PEGI system and all that kind of stuff. And when I say I'm a fan, not the way in which they are policed, because as far as I'm concerned, sometimes some games get ratings that they shouldn't have. But I'm a fan of the notion of having a system like that, having a PEGI system, having a ESRB rating, having teen for teen games, M for mature, and all that kind of, that makes sense. In the same way that movie theaters, you go to a movie and you're going to see a film like Deadpool. Should a film like Deadpool not exist just because, well, children can't watch it, right? Like that's ridiculous. The idea of that is completely and utterly ridiculous. Should a show like Game of Thrones not be produced and published just because children are not supposed to be watching that kind of stuff, right? It's not tailored to watch children. There's a shit ton of nudity in Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones is easily one of the most popular television series that have ever been around. The Deadpool films have been some of the most popular films out there. And again, they're not tailored towards children, right? You're making a mistake. What mistake am I making, Duke? Do tell. Fill me in on the mistake. Let me see. I'm the storm that is approaching. What storm is approaching, Duke? Tell me. Plus my favorite series from XSeed was Trails, but no, now Fate. Fate is no longer if you're talking about what's that? Fuck, I forgot the name of it. It's gonna be there. If it's Fate, like the Fate games, they don't have any mention of it on the European side. So I'm assuming they're gonna be pulling away from Fate as well. Like they're probably not gonna publish those games in the West again. Like there will not be any other Fate games coming, based on the fact that they've removed that shit from their website. I'm not saying it probably won't happen. It just seems like that's not what their focus is anymore. Like they're not going to be working on that and or pushing that anymore. Or they probably wouldn't have pulled it down from their website. People consider animated stuff to be childish kids compared to live shows and shit. Here's the thing, right? That's Western people, and I would say more American people consider that to be for kids. Because here's the thing, right? Would you let your kid watch an anime like, for example, GTO? That's not for kids, is it? Right? An anime like for example, Castlevania. It's not for bloody kids. Castlevania is not a kids-friendly anime. Something like for example, Hellsing. Hellsing is not for kids. These are anime, yes. And the idea, the absurdity of that people can, don't just say people. It's not people. It's some people who are ill-informed think this, right? In the same way, those same ill-informed people may think like a game like Call of Duty, that's okay for kids. My little son Harry should be able to play Call of Duty. Call of Duty is not for kids. If you look at a Call of Duty, right? Call of Duty age rating, right? Let's look at the age rating for Call of Duty game. Call of Duty is just not for bloody kids, right? It's 18 plus. All right, let's check this. Let's look at Call of Duty ESRB ratings. All right, Modern Warfare had an ESRB rating of M for mature. That's a 17 plus game, right? That's not for bloody children, right? You look at what's in that game: blood, gore, intense violence, strong language, suggestive themes, use of drugs. That's why that has an M rating. This is not for kids, but there's a large subset of society that thinks this is fine for children. They will buy this for their children and they will have no problem with it because, well, it's just some fake guns and stuff like that. That's not gonna hurt anyone, right? Let's look at the PEGI rating, right? Let's see what the PEGI rating for this is. It's an 18 for a Call of Duty Modern Warfare game. 18 is the rating for this, right? This is 18. Let's see why it's got an 18 rating, right? Where's the breakdown of this rating here? Right, content specific issues. Violence in the game ranges from mild to very graphic, including torture, dismemberment, and decapitation. There are infrequent occurrences of children involved in violence or being subjected to violence. The dialogue in the game contains the frequent use of sexual expletive, fuck, fucked, and fucking. That's Call of Duty, and that is seen as a kids game by, again, the same people that would tell you that, oh, anime is not is for kids. The same people will tell you, oh, but Call of Duty is fine. Because that's the thing. The people who would say that kind of stuff or who would think that kind of way, they are the same ill-informed people that think a game like Call of Duty is fine and will buy it for their kids. That's because just because a subset of society are ill-informed doesn't mean that they're right. Essentially, it just means that they're wrong and they need to be informed. You know, it's as simple as that, right? If someone's doing pedophilia and it's seen in society as, oh, that's fine, right? By a subset of people, doesn't mean that it's okay. No, it doesn't mean that it's okay. It means that those people need to be arrested, right? And they need to learn that, hey, this is wrong, right? In the same way that, again, thinking that, like, for example, a piece of media that can be created and sold and stuff like that needs to be, just because you think that it's tailored towards, because they put the ratings on it. Certain character games don't have teen ratings on them. You go to buy a certain character, they don't have a teen rating on a certain character. It's M. It's designed, like, literally, this is, you can't buy these games on a kid account, right? And if, as a parent, if your kids have access to purchase these games online or whatever have you, That's on you as a poor parent. You're not a good parent at that point in time. You're a poor parent, right? You need to inform yourself, and you need to like learn about, hey, this is the medium that my kids are involved in. I need to know about this. I need to inform myself about this, because I can't just give my kids stuff and say, well, they'll just figure it out. No, you have to be a proper parent. If you're not, if for example, you're going down the street with your child is like 2 years old or 3 years old, and you let go of your child's hand and your child runs into the street and gets hit from a car, whose fault is that? It's your fault. You as the parent, you can't say, oh, well, the cars shouldn't be driving and they should stop because my child ran out into the road. No. You as the parent should have held your child's hand and made sure your child knows that, hey, before you cross the street, look left and right, wait for the light to change, and then you cross the street, right? In the same way, for a game like a Censorship or whatever have you, an M-rated game, your kid should never have that in their possession, right? At least as a parent, you should police that. All right, but let's go on with let me catch up with some of you guys coming. Please, packages don't mean much nowadays when kids can download anything from stores. And that's the thing, kids can't just download anything from stores. Their parents have to allow that. All right, your parents have to allow you to download stuff from a store, because when you set up an account on PlayStation or Xbox and all that kind of stuff, you have to put in card details, right? And if you're a good parent, what you do is you set up parental controls on your system to your kids. You can do that. You can do it on their phones. You can do it on their computers. You can do it on their Xbox, their PlayStations, their Switches, whatever. Their parental controls for those consoles. I know this. I've set them up. Right? And your kid has to come to you to be able to access anything that you've deemed sorry. And you can block it based by ESRB rating or PEGI rating and all that kind of stuff. You can say, hey, I don't want you playing this. You can it's even set up in certain ways where essentially, even if the kid can play a specific game, they may not be able to go into a specific mode. So for example, your kid may be able to play FIFA or eFootball or whatever have you, but they can't purchase anything and they can't play against people online. That's perfect. You have literally allowed your kid to play a specific game, but you've nerfed certain aspects of it, because those aspects are the aspects that are seen as not favorable towards children. Those are the rated stuff. A lot of people don't know this because they just don't inform themselves on stuff, and that's the thing. Ignorance is bliss. A lot of people are lazy parents, and just because they're lazy parents does not mean that they're right or someone else should do the job. Do your job as a parent, right? That's it. You become a parent. You do your bloody job. It's as simple as that. Kids are a tough job. You have a lot of work to put in to make sure that they can become great parts of society, right? But it's a job. You have to put in the effort. If you're gonna be lazy about it and expect society to do a job for you, then you are the words are coming for me, but essentially at the end of the day is that you are completely upset. I'm trying to like limit what I say because I don't want to really, I don't really want to be too hard, but I want to be too hard because again, a lot of these people are the reasons why games are getting are not being made and so forth. Games like Ascender and Kagura are not being made because of people because the ineptitude of some people, why companies are being forced or pushed into a corner whereby they then have to censor their stuff just to appeal to people who these games are not made for. Like, that's ridiculous. Anyway, let's go on. Let my kid watch anime. You mad, son? That kid needs to earn his good food privilege. Forget about anime. Look, I'm just saying, my kids watch anime, man. There's no problem with anime at all. You just have to know which ones they can watch and which ones they can't, and you have to do your research. You have to spend the time. Sometimes you sit in front of the telly and you're flicking through for hours trying to find the right thing that they can watch. There's Studio Ghibli. There's a bunch of stuff that kids can watch, right? Fate Stella is still on their website. For Marvelous, is it? Fate Stella. Let's type Fate. No, it's not coming up. We're talking about Marvelous Europe. I'm not talking about XSeed yet, right? XSeed's website hasn't been updated recently. The barometer we're working with is Marvelous's website, which Marvelous is the parent company for XSeed, right? The Western branch of XSeed. XSeed is their US branch. And Marvelous has updated, their website was updated recently, which would mean XSeed is probably due to update their website as well. And they follow suit whatever Marvelous is doing. Whatever Marvelous is doing is what happens with XSeed. So if Marvelous has removed certain games from their site, XSeed is going to remove them soon because Senran Kagura is here. Uppers is here. Kanagara Jet Girls is here. These games are still here, but they're not on Marvelous's website. That's the point I'm trying to make, is that these games are being just tucked away. They're no longer a priority or stuff like that. That boy is worried of sorry, what? That boy is worried is worrying if he's getting supper this day or not. Double standards are real, yes. The double standards are definitely real. Rather a kid plays Devil May Cry than COD. You rather your kid plays Devil May. I don't rather my kid play Devil May Cry. If we look at Devil May Cry, right? If we look at Devil May Cry, and we look at, let's look at the latest one, Devil May Cry 5, and we look at the rating for this, right? And this is where, again, it goes back to, as a parent, you have to think about what is it that is appropriate for your children. A Devil May Cry game has an M rating, right? It has an M rating. It says here, it's got blood, partial nudity, strong language, and violence. This is not for children. This is an action game with in which players follow the story of. Wait, where's the stuff that's you know? This is why I like ESR. This is why I like Peggy 4. Peggy separates it. The ESR just puts everything together as a bulk, and you just have to like make sense of it. So let's go Peggy rating. Come on, send me to the Peggy website. All right. Do they have it here? Nope, it's not there. Where's the Peggy website for this? Frack! They do not have the Peggy web. They do have. Oh, here. This is not Peggy, but hey, this does kind of. Wow, this is so small to read. This is the same thing as the ESRB rating written here. Okay, here we have it. Hack and slash game. No, this doesn't go over. Why? Blood appears frequently during combat. Stay in every several environments. Some female characters depicted partially nude, with their breast and butt minimally covered by blood, light, or clothing, and the word fuck and shit appear in the dialogue. Hey, and again, this is not a game for kids. Here's the thing, I wouldn't let my 4-year-old play a Devil May Cry. I wouldn't let my 4-year-old play Call of Duty. I definitely wouldn't let my 4-year-old play Senran and Kagura, right? These are games not meant for a 4-year-old, right? My 13-year-old, there's a chance. But then you have to think how mature your kid is at that point in time. If your kid understands certain aspects of life, they've you've taught them well, and they have a bit more understanding, and you are there with them as a parent, right? Then that's fine. You can sit with your kid and you can have a conversation, and they've learned stuff, because as you have kids, as they get older, they ask questions, and if you answer those questions and you're a good parent and all that kind of good stuff, hey, perfectly fine. You can teach them, they can learn, and all that kind of good stuff. But if you're not being a good parent and you're expecting these governing bodies to police your games for you, you're expecting companies to make games specifically for your kids, then you're a bad parent. At the end of the day, I'm not even going to sugarcoat it. You're a bad parent. At that point in time, if you're ill-informed and you're just giving your kid shit and just saying, hey, you just play this and it's okay. And then when in future your kid may not have proper understanding of specific things or whatever have you, you're a bad parent. All right, like, and not just because a rating system says that something is good for your kids also doesn't mean that it's good enough, because at the end of the day, you yourself have to know what's good enough. I've watched some kid shows that are not good for kids, like the stuff that's in there just not kid friendly, but it's labeled as a kid show, right? I've played some games that are labeled for kids that are not kid friendly, and this is the reason why, again, a good parent is supposed to spend time understanding the media that their kids are consuming, and then decide what your kid can and can't consume, right? And I'm not saying that some things may fall on the wayside. As a parent, when you've got work, you've got other responsibilities and all that kind of stuff, sometimes some stuff fall on the wayside in the sense that maybe something slips, but that slip should never be the norm. That should be, an outlier. It should be something like, oh my god, like I didn't even notice this, but we'll rectify that for future reference. This is not gonna happen again, right? Like, if your kid is watching a documentary that's not rated for kids by accident, and you're like, oh crap, wrong documentary, we're not gonna have this, let's put on something that's more for your age, right? Or your kid stumbles upon a show and you start watching the show with them and you realize, holy shit, whoa, this is not for them, turn it off, switch to something else. That's parenting. That's what you're supposed to be doing. The US and Europe, sexuality is viewed different than violence. Yeah, I know that. I live in the West. I know sexuality is viewed differently than violence. But that's the problem. That's the problem. If what's good for the goose is good for the gander. You can't have it both ways. And vice versa. Japan, they view violence and drugs as very different than sexuality. It's weird how Japan has backwards ass laws for ladies in real life, talking about grouping and stalking stuff. Then again, we need to update our laws to deal with internet stalking. But think about, the US has backwards laws with regards to guns, that anyone can just have a gun and walk around and just shoot the place up, right? How many mass shootings are there? There was another one just this week. I was I'm in my kitchen making breakfast. I'm making eggs in the kitchen, you know, nice and comfortable, standing around in my tidy whites, looking all comfortable and all that kind of good stuff. And there I'm listening to the news, and oh yeah, another mass shooting happened in the US, la-di-da, guy shoots up the place, la-di-da, people die, la-di-da, filmed on Facebook, la-di-da, right? You can't judge with regards to Japan and their grouping and their stalking stuff. Hey, that's a problem. They need to work on that shit, right? They need to work on. I've got friends who live in Japan and they've told me that shit is a thing. I understand that, right? I'm saying no one from the US can judge any other country because the laws in the US are backwards as hell. Right? This is a simple fact, right? Backwards as hell. There's some cave level laws inside our country right now, right? But I digress, right? Comparing COD though, rather than that stylish combat versus guns everyone and sorry, what? Compared to COD though, rather than stylish combat versus, or you're talking about the difference between COD and Devil May Cry again, is it? Again, it's not. I'm not comparing them. I'm going by what's appropriate and what's not appropriate. Why would you give this to a 4-year-old? That kid's watching Peppa Pig. Yeah, the US are utterly incompetent at that. All countries have their faults. All countries have their faults, but some faults are worse than others, right? If you have more people dying in your country on a regular basis, like people dying in mass amounts on a regular basis because your laws are incompetent, then you're worse off than other countries, right? If you can't go to the shop without thinking, holy shit, this could be my last day, some crazy person could decide to lose their shit and that could be the end of me, right? Then yeah, most other people in other countries, right, don't have to worry about that, right? I go to the shop, I go cycling at midnight and I never worry about that kind of stuff, right? If I go into town to do some shop, if I get up now and go cycling and go into town for something, I'm not thinking, oh, what if some crazy person loses their shit and shoots up the whole place? I'm not saying crazy people don't exist in other countries, like they're knife people and stuff like that, but the odds of a knife person getting me compared to like if I'm just randomly walking around and a gun person comes around is much higher, right? The guy deciding to stand in a room and pick off people, my odds of survival are lower with that guy than the knife guy, because with the knife guy, if I spot him before he spots me, right, good chance I survive that shit, right? Because I'm going on the offensive at that point. I'm going to kick you in the face or something. We're going to fight, buddy. Like, this is happening. Square up, knife guy. But I'm saying with a gun guy, right? If I spot him and he spots me and he's at a certain distance from me, there's nothing I can do except duck and hope for the best. Fingers crossed, right? So yeah, there's a difference. You see that as acceptable losses apparently. Exactly. Weird fact I learned with some politicians explain LGBTQ are forcing kids to identify as cats and to provide litter boxes. Are there kids identifying as cats? I'm not sure. Wouldn't, like, someone will have to send me that. I didn't know about that. Wouldn't Japan count as well? They have high rates of suicide than nearly all other countries combined. I think the whole rates of suicide with Japan has to do with the pressures that they have as a society to excel, rather than it being like their thing. And that situation is their situation. They need to deal with that as well, right? They may have high rates of suicide, but I think suicide is a choice people make. You know, at the end of the day, like, you know, your life stuff that's going on, all that kind of stuff pressures you into making that decision, I guess. Like, I've been in situations that I guess some other people would have probably taken and said, oh, you know what, like, yeah, I should probably end this existence. But that being said, I haven't. I'm still here doing videos and all that kind of good stuff. And this is not me saying, oh, well, whatever with regards to other people and their circumstances and all that kind of stuff. I'm not judging people and their circumstances. To each their own, right? Yes, Duke, it is a choice. It is a choice. Like if you let's put it this way, right? you and I could have the same circumstances or similar circumstances in life, right? When I was growing up, my family didn't have a lot of money, right? We didn't have a lot of money. We got at one point in time we got put out of our place because we couldn't pay our rent, right? My dad took my sisters and I to family court. Right. Oh shit. I'm opening up the whole family wells and all that kind of stuff. I had a point in time when my mom didn't. No, I'm going to go into that one. You know, I love my mom too much. But the point of the matter is that the thing is that I had a tumultuous childhood. You know, my mom and dad split, and the thing about it with single parents usually is that, you know, kids get the brunt of that kind of stuff when parents split and stuff is going on and you can't afford certain things and life is going to shit. And I kid you not, there were moments when the thought crossed my mind. I'm having bad weeks. I am stressing out. I am crying. I am locked up in my room and all that kind of shit, right? And the thought crossed my mind a couple of times. I kid you not, it did cross my mind. But for me, it was like, after some time, and you know, I had some time to process it. And thankfully, I had people in my life, like my sisters and stuff, who were very supportive and all that kind of stuff. I got through it, right? I got through it and I'm here today and I can speak about that kind of stuff. I've lived that life, right? I have lived the life. I have been in situations where I'm walking home with a friend and there's a gunman not too far in the distance firing shots off, right? And I'm just down the road, just like ducking them because holy shit, there's a gunman in the distance there, right? I've lived an experience that some people probably would not be able to get through and survive that experience because of their thing. The one thing I can say though is that because the reason why I probably was able to get through something like that per se is because of the fact that prior to my parents splitting, they did instill a lot of strong moral fiber in me, and they raised my sisters and I to be there for each other and to sort of like, you know, back up each other and all that kind of stuff. I'm actually getting a phone call from my sister. I'm gonna pause this for a second, take the call to see what she needs, and then we're gonna hop back into this. Is it urgent? Because I'm on a live stream. If it's not, I'll have to call you back in a sec. Okay, I'll call you back in a sec, okay? Let me just finish this stream. Okay, I'll call you back in a sec. Give me a sec. I'm on a live stream right now, and that means you're on the live stream. So I'll call you back in a sec, okay? All right, so yeah. And that's what I'm talking about. We have such a close relationship. My sisters cannot call me and I not take the call, no matter what I'm doing, because we're supportive of each other. We're there for each other, right? Blackmail acquired. No one can blackmail me. I'm good. He's all right. But anyway, that being said, let's get back to our topic at hand, Censorship and what's going on with XSeed games and Marvelous and so forth. Right, we're getting back into this. Though he made no direct reference to the policy itself, many have speculated that Takaki exit was spurred on by Sony's confirmation earlier in that year that motivation by the #MeToo movement and the growing popularity of video game streaming among general audiences, that the company had ordered a more scrutinous approach to sexual content of titles released on their console. And the thing is, Takaki and XSeed and Marvelous were working on a new Censorship game for that platform and for the PlayStation. And Sony were like, nah fam, you can't release this shit. Right? You can't do this. And then the company, Marvelous, has to pull that shit back because Sony's one of their biggest platforms when it comes to sales, and they have to pull that back and say, okay, well, we can't release this on the PlayStation. So then Takaki, as the creative mind behind it, is like, nah, screw this shit. I'm gonna go somewhere else. I'm gonna go to side games. Screw you guys, I'm going home. I'm taking my toys and I'm out of this piece, right? Now here's the thing. Notably, this policy has thus far seemed disproportionately affect, let me read that again. Notably, this policy has thus far seemed to disproportionately affect Japanese video games. With games like You Know Girl, who chant love at the bound of the world of what? Of Zanki, Zero Last Beginning receiving heavy censorship of even most mild content, whilst games like Last of Us 2 have released completely uncensored and to high praise at that. And that's the thing. The Last of Us is bloody violent as hell. There's a lot of stuff in The Last of Us. I'm not saying Last of Us is a bad game either. It's just not for kids. Like, you would not give your kid The Last of Us to play, like, at all, right? It's just not a game for children. But There we go again, right? Using it as a justification, this song's sus. What song sus? That Me Too movement was meant to call out scummy men in power who couldn't be touched. I think initially that's what it started off as, but it evolved into a whole lot more. And I think that's the thing where a lot of things that we have in society have to be viewed because I think a lot of people are they think in this sort of way of, you know, black and white, good and bad, and in reality there's more nuance to things. Yes, there are gray areas for stuff. So yes, for example, it started off as that, but it evolved into something oh so much more, right? And a lot of good movements start that way. A lot of good movements start with something where it's doing a positive thing, or it's designed to be a positive thing, but then people come in and they change that, or they take that and use it for other stuff. You take, for example, like a swastika. That was supposed to be a sign of peace or something for some cultures, and the Nazis took it, and then you know what happened with that. So like if Blizzard did this, that's sus and hypocritical. That's the thing, right? But let's go on, right? So this goes into Marvelous's financials for this year, right? For XSeed Games Marvelous financials. Just let me see if this is correct, if I have the right thing. Censorship Cargo developers working on a new IP. Rune Factory 5 has shipped over 5. This is what you were talking about before. There's this one. And there's one article I got last night, I was reading, where it went over. Here we go. This is the one, right? Marvel's financial results for Q1 2022 sees a decline in their video game business in every metric. In every metric, they've seen a decline in 2022. Keep that in mind, right? These guys have since I guess more than a year or two now, they've been pulling away since 2019. They've been pulling away from games like Ascender and Kagura, and they've seen a huge decline. There's been no big mainstream Ascender and Kagura released for years. The last mainstream Ascender and Kagura game, right, released, right? So the last Ascender and Kagura game, like mainstream, would have been Burst Renewal, I think, and Burst Renewal was released in. When was the release for this? 2018. February 22nd, 2018 was the release date for, here we go, 2019. January 22nd, 2019 was the release date for it on PC, right? That was the Steam release date for it, right? And it would have released on PlayStation Store in, it's on sale right now, actually, 10 quid. I wouldn't buy it on PlayStation. Look at this DLC, right? This is not for kids. This is a grown man's game, 2019 again. So 2019 was the last time a Ascender and Kagura game was released, right? Now let's go into these metrics, right? Marvel's report for their fiscal quarter of the year has revealed their video game business is down by every metric declared, right? The report notes that in the first quarter of the fiscal year, April the 1st to June the 30th, Marvelous net sales were down by 17.8%. That is a massive amount. That's almost quarter of your regular earnings gone. You have been nerfed at this point. 17% drop, right, from the same period last year, right? This likewise, operating profits fell by 46%, by 46.7%, right? So their operating profits have fallen as well, right? Ordinary profits by 23.2%, again almost a quarter, right? And profits attributed to owners of parents by 30%, right? Moving on onto digital content business, Games Marvelous published, the report notes that sales fell off the target for the zombie survival action multiplayer platformer Deathcraft, released in May this year, right? Deathcraft is the last game they put. This is what they're banking on. A 6 out of 10 game. They're banking on this. And again, keep in mind, right? And this is the thing where I'm not a big Metacritic person. Like I don't trust the Metacritic rating system, right? But here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. If we look at, for example, right? If we look at a game, like I trust Steam ratings, right? So if we look at Senran and Kagura Burst Renewal, right? And we look at the Steam rating, these are users rating this. Senran and Kagura is very positive on Steam. right? People are liking Senran Kagura and Steam. There are people buying this shit, right? Look at Deadcraft, the games that they're banking on, right? It's got less reviews and the reviews are mixed. People are not liking this, right? If we look at XSeed and Marvelous, if we look at what Marvelous is putting out, right? And we look at Rune Factory with a very positive. It's got 626 reviews on Steam, right? We look at Demon X Machina. This got 5,000 something reviews. That means more and more people are actually talking about this game and playing this game as well. Fate is doing great, 3,000 something. But we look at it. Let's find our good boys. Senran, let's see if we can separate this by games, and so we can block out DLC. How do I put it so it just shows the games? Hide, ignore items. Oof. How do you remove DLC as an option? Because it's showing a bunch of DLC, and I just wanna. All right, games. Right. So let's see Marvelous. Senran Kagura should be here, right? Senran Kagura is not here. I think it's because Honey Parade Games are the ones who publish Senran Kagura, so I think I kind of need to go for their. Let's go XSeed Games, and let's look at it from that metric, right? Right. So we have Akiba's Trip, mostly positive, right? But not a lot of reviews for that game. Let's look at Senran Kagura Reflection, which was shit as far as I'm concerned. Still has very positive, even though I thought it was a shit game, right? Still has very positive and a decent amount of reviews. Peach Bowl, I thought was decent, 400 and some reviews with very positive. Again, people are loving that. Senran Kagura Burst Renewal, very positive, right? Senran Kagura's PP Splash, very positive with 3,000 something reviews, right? Senran Kagura Estival Versus, top tip, 4,000 something reviews, very positive, right? These are the games people will back. People love this. Bon Appetit, very positive, 700 something reviews, right? Senran Kagura Shinobi Versus, again, very positive, right? Even a game like Akiba's Strip, again, very positive, 2,000 something reviews. People wanted these games. They were buying these games. What Marvelous was doing, yes, their market, what they should have done as a company is think, hey, our market wants these games and Sony doesn't want it. Let's just diversify from Sony. That's it. That's all you have to do as a company. You have to say, okay, we're not gonna put our products on Sony anymore. PlayStation is not for us. We can go to PC. There's so many people I know who have just dropped PlayStations and jumped to PCs, right? There are people who've dropped their Xboxes and jumped to PCs. At the end of the day, a lot of people have been shifting towards PC, especially younger generation, because a lot of the games that they play are Fortnite and all that kind of stuff. So by the time they get older, they're gonna be playing on PC. That's gonna be their platform. So by the time little Timmy is 18 years old or 16 years old or whatever have you, all right? By the time little Timmy is of that age where the PEGI rating for them is okay, where are they gonna buy their games? On a PlayStation? Hell no, right? He's gonna be on a PC. And for the most of us, we do have a PC. Absolutely fans would rate it positively. Honey games like that usually always rate positively in quality, notwithstanding Steam reviews are far from what I'd call reliable. Here's the thing, Ace, right? Here's where I would go with Steam reviews, right? Steam reviews are peer reviews. When you look at a review, like for example, if I give you a review of a game, that's my opinion, right? I could like or hate that game, but that's my opinion. If I review a Rune Factory game, it's not going to get a positive review, right? Let's put it that way. If I review a Rune Factory game, it is not going to get a positive review. The reason why is because I don't enjoy Rune Factory games, right? So me reviewing a Rune Factory game, I'm going to say this game is shit, right? Does that mean that the game is shit? No, it just means that I don't like it. But peer reviews, on the other hand, and this is why you would find a lot of the time Metacritic conflicts with the user reviews, because the critics tend to have a similar mindset. It seems like a lot of critics are very similar in the way in which they view their games and stuff like that, especially because we're reviewing games from a different lens. We're reviewing games before they release. You know, we get our copies from the developer, so there's some kind of influence sometimes, you know, some passive sort of mental influence. Oh, I got this game for free, maybe I shouldn't be as harsh, I guess. Whereas a person who spends their money on something and it turns out to be shit, they're gonna be harsh. They're not gonna be like, oh no, well, you know, no, they're gonna be like, this game is shit and I am upset about this, right? So I trust Steam reviews a whole lot more than any other review options that you have out there. The only reviews you see as super fans, regular people aren't gonna bother reviewing on Steam. That's not the case. That is not the case. Regular people may not review their games on Steam. Yes, some people may not do that and all that kind of stuff. But here's the thing, right? In the same way, those super fans will downgrade. There are people who would go and poorly review a game if it's a poor game, right? If a game is not good, a lot of people will say something about it. A lot of people will say, on Steam at least, a lot of people will say something about it. You can't do that on PlayStation. You can't do it on Xbox, at least as far as I know. But you can do it on Steam, and I think that those peer reviews have a positive thing. But let's continue on with this conversation with regards to this, right? Their games they're banking on is Deadcraft. That was what was released in May for them. The report further stated, as a reactionary decline following the strong sales of Rune Factory 5, which was launched in May of the previous fiscal year, sales and profits decreased from the same period of the previous year. In other words, the poor sales are blamed in part to Rune Factory 5 doing so well in comparison, having launched just before Q1 of 2021. So they're saying that their poor sales have to do with Rune Factory 5 selling so well in the previous fiscal year, which is bollocks. If you release a good game right after that physical, if they put out a Senran Kagura, mainstream Senran Kagura right after that for Q1, instead of putting out a game like what was it? Deadcraft. If a Senran Kagura game came out when Deadcraft came out, it would have sold bucket cakes and their numbers would have looked good. Right? Logos of Sword and Sorcerer Goddess, Ancient and Shinobi Master Senran Kagura New Link are noted to have well received collaborations and anniversary events, while thousands of musketeers, what the fuck is all this? So increased number of users thanks to half-a-year anniversary event, but its contributions to earnings was limited. Despite the few positive notes, Marvelous State net sales were down. So these games helped with their earnings, but these are mobile games, right? Just keep that in mind. These are mobile games, but they did help with their earnings, but it was limited. They contribute to earnings, but it was limited, right? Why aren't they focusing on the mainstream on what people want? Because why? Because of other children, right? But yes, down by 22.6% from the same period in prior years. The segment profit was down by 82.5%. Wow, that's insane. The aforementioned trio of titles are all mobile titles, right? There was more uplift news for Marvelous in other areas. However, amusement business, well, we don't care about that. We're gamers. We don't care about what they're doing in their other businesses, stuff, amusement parks and all that kind of tralala. That doesn't affect us. I'm not going to tell Marvelous amusement park. You know, I don't care about their audio-visual business. That's do nothing for me. I'm a gamer. I want to play their games, right? Or at least I wanted to play their games with Senran Kagura, but they betrayed me, right? They've stopped putting out those quality games, and now we live in a world where a game like Senran Kagura doesn't exist anymore. At least doesn't come out anymore. No new Senran Kagura games have been released. While games are only part of Marvelous's business, they are notably the vast majority of failures in the quarter compared to the amusement and audio-visual business. A potential reason they could be suffering in this area is due to increased hostility towards fan service in video games from game journalists and activists. And I put myself, don't just say game journalists, some game journalists, because I am positive towards these types of games. I think there's a market for this, and I think let the horny live, right? Let it live. If you know, just let it live. Let it be out there. Just make sure you have an ESRB rating. Make sure those games can't be sold without you having a credit card, a bank card that basically has your age and stuff on it. And then if someone under that age gets that particular content, it's because they had poor parents. Has nothing to do with the developers, has nothing to do with the publisher, has to do with their poor parenting, right? Their parents allowed for that. It's not Marvelous's fault. It won't be Steam or Nintendo's fault. It would be bad parenting would be the reason why a game like that would get into the hands of someone that's not supposed to get in the hands of. That's the end of it. That's literally the end of that with regards to that kind of stuff. And that's because your kid is just that bad and just doesn't do what you tell them to do and somehow finds a way around it, but it's really hard. How are they gonna get a bank card? Who are they getting it from? And if they live in your house, how are they playing stuff without you knowing about it? Right? You should know about what your kids are playing, what they're engaged with, right? But I digress. Let's move on. And one of the most well-known titles being fan service being the fan service heavy Senran Kagura series. In October 2018, Japanese developer claimed Sony Interactive Entertainment had they this is poorly written. Had they demanded so I'm assuming this is supposed to be had then demanded they and other Japanese studios censor sexual content in their games on PlayStation consoles. Right? And it goes on. Later that year, Sony Interactive Japan Asia President Atsushi Moriata said regarding how the policy would be balanced with freedom of expression about the censorship, we tried meeting global standards. Global standards. No. They tried meeting the standards of people who like that shit. This is not global standards. We don't all like this, right? Yes, parents want to blame the games, not themselves. That is exactly right, Shadow King. You understand this thing. That's poor parenting. It is not the parents. And by the way, Shadow King, thank you for coming into the stream. And pledge, sorry, what? And pledge that, and that pledge being, sorry, what? Okay, let me read this again. Q better back the spiritual successor of Senran Kagura when someone tries it on Kickstarter. And that pledge better be $100 plus. Here's the thing about that, right? Let's be honest, Q. Are we really missing out on anything without Senran Kagura? I am. And I know fans of Senran Kagura games are missing out on something as well. How well did this Gaia 6 sell? I don't know how this Gaia 6 sell, but this Gaia 6 wasn't what this Gaia fans wanted. I'm not a this Gaia fan, right? But from every this Gaia fan that I've spoken to, what they said they wanted from this Gaia game was not that. They wanted more of what this Gaia 5 was. They wanted this guy to continue along that visual look of how this Gaia 5 looked and played. They weren't asking for a 3D this Gaia game. They wanted that sort of like 2.D kind of nice sprite kind of graphics, right? Talk to my boy Shadow Elite. He'll tell you, right? And Shadow's one of the biggest this Gaia fans that I know. And straight up, the first time we saw that, he was like, nah fam, I want this Gaia 5 looking game, not this Gaia 6 3D stuff, right? But again, I digress, right? Derogatory comment about you and Haven Dynasty. You're crazy mad lad, but appreciate having you in here. We're talking about Senran Kagura. We're talking about censorship. Clearly, this Gaia 6 sold well if we're getting a 7. So it did sell well enough, I would assume. Yes, it would have had to sell enough to actually make it something that they would actually invest more into. I guess also that NIS America, this guy is their mascot, so like it makes sense that they'll keep at it essentially in that sense again. But let's continue. Senran Kagura producer Kenichiro Takaki left Marvelous in 2019, citing censorship as his main reason for leaving and feeling the policies had gone too far. Even so, it should be noted that Senran Kagura series has continued with less fan service along with new games by Takaki's Honey Parade games, and such as Kanagawa Jet Girls, and fan service titled remakes of Akiba's Trip and Hellbound of the. And here's the thing. If you're gonna release a fan service game and you're gonna censor it, don't release a fan service game. Don't, because at the end of the day, it's not a fan service game. You're trying to play both fields, right? That makes no sense at all. You're trying to play both fields and you're doing a poor job at it. The fan service fans don't want that. They want the fan service, and the fans of non-fan service games don't enjoy those types of games. Someone who doesn't like a fan service game isn't like thinking, oh my god, if only Senran Kagura had less titties, man. If only, like they turn to their friend, hey Harold, what's up, man? Oh, what's going on, buddy? How's it going? If only, let me just tell you something. Let me just say, if only a fan service game had less titties, I'd play it. That's not happening. That person does not exist, as far as I'm concerned. They do not exist. There's no one out there who's like, oh my god, I would play the shit out of Senran Kagura if there was less titties and shiggly bits going around. No. But the guy who's out there thinking, my god, check out that shiggle. Love alert. I'll buy 2 copies today, right? He's gonna now say, oh well, if they've taken out the shiggle, I can't buy this anymore. This is garbage. I will then go and buy something else on PC or on the Switch, right? I don't need this in my life, right? I'm a grown man with my grown man money, wanting to play my grown man games that are rated M for mature. I should be able to play this. Love alert, freedom of VGM gaming, blah, 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 blah. But that doesn't happen. That's not a thing, right? That doesn't happen. They're basically making it that these games have to be censored for everyone across the board. This is basically using a broad brush to paint everything the same way. Let me catch up with the comment Dynasty saying what was censored. Can I be the Cliff Note catch up? You can catch up, Dynasty. Definitely. And if you guys want to clip a couple of stuff from it, feel free to clip it. Again, this is gonna go up as a video on YouTube in post. Judy is the least of this guy's 6 problems. They took out weapon skills and main characters and so on, all that kind of stuff. I think those things were taken out because they were working with a different style. I don't think that I think there were limitations as to what they could do, and that's probably why that happened. Especially because when you switch a game to a different engine, a different style, and all that kind of stuff, I think it does affect the amount of time you can put in it, depending on your time scale and what you're planning to do and all that kind of stuff. It does affect that kind of stuff. Going on. Rather the games be actually good than just filled with fan service for the sake of it. And Ace, Senran Kagura is a good game, buddy. The Senran Kagura games are some of the best Musou games out there. Mechanically speaking, if you play a Senran Kagura game like Estival Versus, it is sound. The combos you can pull off in a Senran Kagura game, mechanically amazing games. The stories are hilarious, right? There are deeper plot points in the Senran Kagura games. When you get to the end of the story, there are some deep plot points in there about the characters and all their relations and all that kind of stuff. I've played Senran Kagura games and been like, man, you know what? I feel that. But the people who don't play Senran Kagura games will tell you that, right? Or maybe they just have, maybe their social sort of upbringing has taught them that, teddies? No, I don't like that in my video games, right? But I wasn't raised like that. I mean, I wouldn't say my parents would have probably wanted me to be more conservative, I guess. But then I was a human being that made decisions for myself, and I just came to the point of view that why is this a problem? I don't see a reason for this, right? Those who protest against Senran Kagura don't even play those games. Exactly. Say it with your chest, Shadow. Say it with your chest. They don't play those types of games, Shadow King. That's what I'm saying, right? At the point that just watch porn or ecchi anime for free, but that's just me. Here's the thing, Ace. That's like saying, right? That's just saying, like Call of Duty is gun simulator, right? At that point, why don't you just go and shoot people, right? That's essentially the equivalent you're making at that point in time, and that's ridiculous. That's a ridiculous argument. Just because people want to enjoy a game, enjoy a particular type of medium in a specific way, right? Let them enjoy it their way, right? And if you like Call of Duty, maybe a better analogy to that would be, if you're gonna play Call of Duty at that point in time, you might as well watch war movies or something, or you might as well just watch military videos about military stuff that they're doing, right? At that point in time, you might as well watch the news. Go on BBC, go on Fox, go on wherever and watch the news about war instead of playing a military game. The whole point someone plays a Senran Kagura game is because they enjoy playing games like that. It's fun. That's the whole point of it. And I think the notion of trying to impart your own sort of like moral fiber, moral thinking onto someone else's form of entertainment that does not hurt you in any way, shape, or form. Someone playing Call of Duty does not hurt me, right? Someone playing Call of Duty does not hurt me in any way, shape, or form. So I give 2 shits about people who play Call of Duty and the state of Call of Duty. I give 2 shits about it. If a Call of Duty game comes out, I am not telling people, oi, I wish there were anime characters in Call of Duty. I don't care. If only they had titties in Call of Duty, I'd play it. No, I won't. Okay, maybe I would. But the point is, right? The point is that at the end of the day, it shouldn't be that. It shouldn't be that essentially, right? Someone who doesn't like a particular thing should want to change. For example, again, I don't like Rune Factory games, but I am not out there protesting for Rune Factory games to be made like Story of Seasons. I don't care. I am not a Rune Factory game fan, and I will proudly say that with my chest. But at the end of the day, my money's going towards Story of Seasons, right? That's what I'm backing, because that's the product that I enjoy, right? And in the same way, I don't want Story of Seasons games to be like Rune Factory games. At the end of the day, Shiggle is not greater than Cheeks Dynasty. You're a crazy person, and you know this, right? But I digress. Moving on. I wouldn't count. Sorry, what? Let's see. I think I'm behind on the comments. At the point of just okay, yeah. I find it funny that games like Censorship get censored, but games like with high violence like Last of Us and Resident Evil don't. That's the thing. That is the thing, Shadow. Shadow King is class in the comments. Nalu, what's going on, man? Welcome to the stream, buddy. My guy Nalu in here for the early stream. What's up, buddy? How's it going? Again, I'm warning you guys. I'm just giving you guys a heads up. This is going up on my YouTube channel today. I am making a considered effort today to get this shit up on YouTube. So this is a video we're creating together as a team effort, and then we're gonna put it up on YouTube. All right. But anyway, I digress. Let's continue. Censorship as a Musu game, I'd call it more of a 3D brawler or something. It's a Musu game. It's a Musu game because you look at Censorship, it's one character versus tons of other characters fighting on the same screen, hundreds in some cases, depending on the Censorship game, and you're battling them all on the same screen. That's what a Musu game is, right? It's not a 3D brawl. 3D brawl would be one-on-one. It's not one-on-one. You only have one-on-one fights for boss battles, and you have that in other Musu games sometimes as well. It's a Musu game, right? Don't try to take away its credit. Don't try to say, oh well, it's not this, it's not that. No, it's not. No, it is a Musu game. At the end of the day, I can get the same thing with higher quality elsewhere. Ace, and here's the thing, and I commend you for that, Ace. You can get the same thing of a higher quality somewhere else. You are well within your rights to do so. But the people who want a Senran Kagura should have a Senran Kagura, because there's a market for it, and there are developers who want to make it like a Kenichi Takaki. There are developers who want to create games like this, and there are fans and players who want to play games like this. Why is it that people who don't like those sort of things feel the need to censor them, feel the need that they should go the way of the dodo bird? That is wrong, as far as I'm concerned. Q played 700 hours and is trying to convince, is of deeper meaning of Censorship. Mate, I've played more than 700 hours in Censorship games. I kid you guys. Can I see my Censorship numbers up on here? Can I show that to you guys? I don't think I can, but I can. At the end of the day, you know, it is what it is. I play a shit ton of Censorship games though. I think my only platinums on PlayStation are Censorship games. Those are my only platinums. But going on. Folks are influenced by the media. They consume high, though in general. Sorry, what they consume in general. People are influenced by the media they consume, and that's the thing where, again, from a young age, you should nurture your kids and teach them what's good and what's bad, so that by the time they get older, the media doesn't influence them that much. If you know how it works. Because like, I grew up in a country where the media had specific views, but I didn't hold the same views as that media, because my mom raised me a specific way, right? My mom raised me a specific way, and that's it. You missed a lot, Nalu, but there's still more to come. Resident Evil does get censored in Japan, but I'm clearly on the other side of this argument. You are on the other side of this argument, Ace. And here's the thing, I welcome the fact that you want to have this debate with me. I welcome it. I strongly 100% welcome it. I do like that back and forth. You're wrong though, but I welcome it. You know, at the end of the day, if we want to have freedom of speech, freedom of expression, freedom of all this sort of stuff, we have to be willing to accept that. Here's what, right? Yes, games like this need to be monitored. Yes, products like this need to be regulated, right? But the regulation shouldn't go so far as to stunt the creativity of the product. It should go so far as to prevent certain people from having it, right? It's just like, for example, right? In some countries, people can have guns, right? Like, anyone can have a gun in certain countries, right? But you have to meet a specific requirements. Not that any Tom, Dick, or Harry can just walk up the street and decide, you know what, I want a gun. I'm just walking in a store and buy a gun, right? That's not how it works in most countries. In most countries, you can have a gun, but you have to go through a rigorous process. You have to do a lot of training and all that kind of stuff, and only then can you get a license to own a gun, right? And then the type of gun you can own are very specific types of guns. In countries like the US, it's not that way. You just walk up the street, it's your legal right, go buy a gun. And that's the reason why you have like a bunch of mass shooters in the US. Hands down, straight up, that's how it is. Q has been ranting about censorship in Censorship for 30 minutes, and I will go even longer, Duke. You know how we do this. I hate censorship. Exactly, Nalu. I go with you that. Nalu, you see, Nalu, this is why you class, buddy. This is why you class. Go to your library and find the hours. I would have to go, I'd have to, I would literally have to remove stuff on the screen, and I don't want to bring up a bunch of stuff on the screen right now for that, so it would just take too long. I can't get screenshots and share it onto Discord later, if anything. I love what Bayonetta 3 is doing with the censorship. Yes, I'm with you on that, Nalu. They put a slider in there. If you want the titties, slider. No titties, slider. Right? Give people freedom of choice. But it is in the sense and manufacturer rights to do so. The console manufacturer can say what the frack they want, but at the end of the day, this is where I think the thing is that what Sony did with regards to XSeed and Marvelous, they had already put a lot of work into a Senran Kagura game for the PlayStation 5. This was, I think it was even announced at their show or something like that. I think it was showed off at the PlayStation press event that the year before, whatever have you. Don't quote me on that, but I remember something, I think it was an E3 or whatever have you. And then after the fact, Sony said like, nah, screw that shit. So think about it like this: you as a company like a Marvelous, you're not the biggest company in the world. You start working on a new Senran Kagura game, you put a lot of effort into it, you get in there, and then Sony says, you know what, scrap that shit, right? And then your creative lead, who's behind the game, says, nah, fam, I'm done, I'm out, peace, see you on the flip side. At that point in time, your game is dead in the waters. At that point in time, the game has been killed. And who killed it? Sony, right? Sony killed it because they're trying to appeal to a specific demographic that don't want that type of game. They're basically homogenizing their games just for I don't know, clout or whatever have you. And that's why from this day forward, and I have been calling it as its rightful name, it is not the PlayStation 5, it is the Censor Box 5. It's censored your games on there. If you're gonna buy a game, and I will say this over and over to people, if you're gonna buy a game and it's multi-plat, don't buy it on PlayStation. Because if you don't want censorship in your games, if you like your games to have whatever you like to have in it, don't take the risk of buying a game on the PlayStation. Because at the end of the day, what's gonna happen is you're gonna get a censored version of your game, and it's probably not gonna be as good, right? I love what sorry, let's go on. They don't need to censor games when there's the ESRB PlayStation act like Wii U and Nintendo. Exactly. And Nintendo learned from that. The Switch does not have the censorship that the Wii U had. Right? It does not have the censorship. There's a game I played on Switch. This is when I realized Switch was no longer a censor box. And I think it was I think the game is called Metropolis. Metro Polis Lux Obscurity, I think. I think I'm spelling it wrong. I reviewed this game on the Switch. I reviewed this game for the Nintendo Switch, right? It's like a Candy Crush, but mature. This game has full-on nudity in it. I'm not gonna pull up screenshots of it because yeah, but this game is on the Nintendo Switch. This is a Switch game, and the full-on nudity is on the Switch, right? It's on. I'm surprised it has a 16 rating for Europe. I believe it had an M for North America though. I think the Nintendo the Nintendo North American version. Let's see. Let's SWITCH Switch. Let's see the US version. All right. Let's see what the US version has here for Nintendo. Let's see ESHOP US. There we go. This is the version I reviewed. Oh shit! Have they removed it? Is Metropolis Lux Obscure? Oh, you see? Yes, see, we gotta put in an age rating. It's there. It's an M for mature. Right, it's got blood, drugs, reference, nudity, strong language, strong sexual content, violence. $7.99. Pick it up. It's worth it. It's a good game. I highly recommend this game. If you want to see my review, there's a review up on my channel. I'll link it somewhere, and you guys can watch a review of Metropolis Lux Obscura. But pick it up. It's a wordy game. It's mature as hell. And you see what I had to go through there? I had to go through an age thing there. And then my account has to be a mature adult account to be able to access this. I would not be able to purchase this game without having a credit card that is registered to an age group that's over 18. I wouldn't be able to buy it. It wouldn't make sense, right? And that is how it should be done. That is it, right? It's the same like alcohol. Can kids, just because kids can't have alcohol, doesn't mean that alcohol shouldn't exist. No, I should be able to drink wine if I want to. But there should be regulations as to who can get that wine, right? It's as simple as that. When I go to shops, people ask me for my ID because sometimes I look like a kid too much, right? And that's, again, you know, it's a bit inconvenient for me, but that makes sense though. They have to make sure that I'm not a kid, right? That's how it is at the end of the day. And I think that is for you, Ace, I think that is the best example I can give you for it. Should alcohol not exist just because kids can't have it? No. Alcohol should be regulated as it is. You know, you go and you show ID and then you can purchase it. You don't have valid ID, you can't purchase it. You know, should kids be allowed? Should clubs and stuff not exist because kids can't go in them? No. You have to show your ID to get into a club. That's just how it is. It's for adults. It's not for the children. You know, my work just called me. Oh, Dynasty gotta go. See you on the flip side, buddy. ESRB inform people who the game is for. Exactly. Yes, but who really goes out of their way to go to the SRB website and read it? It's written on the back of the box of the game. You don't have to go to the SRB website. It's on the platforms, PlayStation Network, Steam, whatever. It's on there. You go on this. This is Steam. Right here at the top, it says sexual content, nudity, anime, action, mature. It's on here. The trailer starts with an M for mature. You don't even have to look further than that. But you can go even further down. And if you come all the way to the bottom, right, you'll see right here, mature content, the developer, and I think this should be even higher up. I don't like the idea that this is down here. But it's here. It explains everything that you need to know, right? And depending on your Steam account, you can't see this page. This won't show up on your Steam account, depending on the age of your Steam account is set to, right? Because it's age gated, as it should be. And again, that statement about people not checking it, that's just because they're poor parents. Don't make that an excuse for them. Don't make the excuse, oh, well, people don't check it. Poor parenting. Say that. Say, oh, well, poor parents don't check it. Well, that's them. They're not good parents, right? Someone who's gonna give their kids cigarettes to smoke is not a good parent, right? If you allow your kid to go to the shop and buy a cigarette and they come home and they're smoking a cigarette, right? And you smell some smoke in their room, doesn't mean that the cigarette company is bad. It doesn't mean you're a poor parent. You're a poor parent. Your kid's smoking. You don't need to go to the website. There's an app. My point still stands. Exactly, Shadow. You know what, Shadow Spitting Fire, Ace? Your point is mute, man. Like, you're fighting a losing battle here, buddy. You're really going out of their way. The rated are obviously the E. It's all there, exactly correct. E for everyone, T for teen, M for mature. And they made it so simple for the US crowd because you know what? You know, you can't just put the age number. You gotta put the word teen, mature, you know, adults. That's the real meaning. What's the real meaning when you can buy anything on the store? You can't buy anything on the store if your account has parental controls on it. You can't. Adults can, but a child can't, unless of course their parents didn't set up the account properly, right? That's a failure of the store selling the game to whom it should. It's not the failure of the store, Shadow. The stores have those stuff in there. When you're setting up the account, if you're setting up an account for your child, they cannot physically, and I'm telling you this because I have done this, they physically cannot purchase stuff that's out of their age limit. And for the few stores that they can see the thing, if they try to purchase it, a prompt will come up telling them, verify that you are the parent in this thing, verify your account, and then I get a prompt on my phone saying, hey, so-and-so wants to access this, would you allow it? And then I have to verify with my fingerprint and all that kind of stuff and log in, right? It is the stores have made the options there for you, and when you're making an account for a child, it shows you that you have to go through all these things. People who are not doing this are lazy parents. They're making an account for themselves and then telling their kids, go ahead and play, buddy. They're not making an account and saying, oh, Timmy's 6. Let me put it, when you're making the account, let me put 6-year-old, la-di-da. Because when you try to make an account for a 6-year-old on Xbox or most of these other platforms, it will tell you can't make an account for them separately. It has to be tied into your account. You have to go into your account backend and create an account that's attached to your account, right? And you monitor that account, and you can put the parameters as to what and what they can't engage with. There's not a failure on the storefront. It's a failure on poor parenting at the end of the day. You can't just get that stuff, Ace. You can't. It just isn't that. It isn't that way. You just can't get that stuff on an online store. An online store requires you to purchase with a card. You have to have a credit card or a debit card, right? And those cards are locked to, like when you set up an account, right? You have to have your age in there, right? That's just how it is. And again, if you're a parent and your kid is doing stuff in your house that you don't know about, again, poor parenting, right? I'm not saying kids don't sometimes get around their parents somehow, but you should be able to monitor and know what your kids are doing. You should try to be as informed as possible about the stuff that your kids are engaged with. And if you're not doing that, again, you are being a poor parent. You're not putting in the effort to be a good parent. You're basically the kind of parent that if your child grows up and goes to prison or does something really, really bad, right? You're the kind of parent that says, oh, well, it's society's fault. It's not mine. I didn't raise, society didn't raise my kid properly. The school didn't teach them right. No, you didn't teach them right. You're a bad parent, right? If you do all within your rights, you make sure to teach them well. You spend all that effort. You put all the time in as much as you can. You make sure to monitor what they do, right? And then they go off the rails. At that point in time, you can say that's a bad kid, right? That one came out as a dud. But if you have as a parent done your job, 9 times out of 10, your kid isn't gonna go down that route. But I digress. Moving on. They did the job show. It doesn't stop anything from buying. It does stop you. And I say that as someone who set it up. It's all my accounts on every console in our house. There are parental locks on there. You can't just purchase stuff. If you go on we've got a Series S in our living room. If you go on that Series S, you can't just play games on one of the kid accounts. It just wouldn't allow you. And my accounts have locks on there. So no one can just access my account. You have to put in my password first. So essentially, you can't. Even like, for example, Netflix. They can't watch Netflix on the Xbox without me giving permission. I have to give permission for Netflix to load up. It's as simple as that. And even in Netflix and those sort of platforms, you can put like a password on your profile. So if you have a kid's profile, only the kids can access the kids profile, and you have your adult profiles there. Same for Disney Plus. Did you hear about the new Assassin's Creed game? I did hear about the new Assassin's Creed game, and I will not talk about it here, but I will talk about it at some point in some other format. Not making excuses for to the parents, just anyone in general. It's not anyone in general, Ace. It's an adult. You have to be an adult to purchase games online on these platforms, unless of course if your parents allow you to do whatever the frack you want. Damn, I'm fighting my life by myself here. Exactly, Ace. A losing battle, buddy. I misunderstand. I thought he meant actual store, not an online store. PSN cards, eShop cards. You can buy a PSN card and eShop card, but if your account is a child account, you cannot use it. You can't use it. It won't allow you to purchase it. If your profile on there is a child account, it won't allow it. Unless, of course, your parent who set up that account allows it. I'm just straight up telling you the truth. That's just how it is. You can't purchase it. Try it yourself. Make an account for a child. Make a child account on PlayStation or on the eShop, right? Like put the actual age in. Make a child account. And then try to buy an adult game. See if it happens. Buy eShop cards. Do whatever the frack you have to do. You're not going to be able to do it. I'm telling you straight up. I have gone through these processes to make sure that I protect the kids in my life. I have to make sure my kids have the best protection. And at the end of the day, right? It is what it is. You can't do it. All my nieces and nephews, right? I should have told their parents, hey, you have to put these locks in place. You have to do these things. This is important. All my friends who have kids, same thing. Right? My kids, same thing. You have to have these parental locks. And if you're not having these things, you're a poor parent. At the end of the day, if you're not monitoring what they play, poor parenting. Assassin's Creed Mirage rated A, adult only 18+ and so forth. I'm looking forward to seeing what else comes of Mirage, but it looks interesting. The fact that they're going back to the whole story focus instead of the whole open world adventure kind of crap. Yeah, I'm feeling that. Similar to gambling, you can protect against that. Actually, I say real life gambling. That's part of it. But let's continue with the article here. It should also be noted that Marvelous Publisher published more than fan service games. Recently, major releases for Marvelous were No More Heroes 3, Demon X Machina, and Rune Factory 5, Story of Season, Pioneer of Olive Tongue. Pioneer of Olive Tongue is amazing, by the way. Love Pioneers of Olive Tongue as well. And No More Heroes 3, big fan of No More Heroes games, straight up. I've got it on the Switch, so good games. Sakno Rise and Ruin, I've heard good things about this game. I have a copy, I have not played a lot of it. So yeah, so Corpse Party, a big fan of the Corpse Party games. They're the only games that I've played in recent years that have freaked me out. Shadow vs Champions Battle, I've reviewed and streamed this game and I've had very positive things to say about it. The studio also published East and The Legend of Heroes in the past, that is. Even so, according to the review aggregator sites from Metacritic, none of Marvelous's titles or US subsidiary XSeed Games launched since June 2001 have exceeded a Metacritic score of 77. Story of Seasons, Friends of Mineral Tongue, user rated was at 8.1 on PC and Switch. Though Deadcraft only users score coming from the Nintendo Switch, with 4 users reviewed culminated into 8.5. Only 4 people reviewed this game. I don't know if this game is trash. Honestly, I haven't played it myself, but it should be putting out a Sinner and Kagura game. They should be. And this is the thing. Marvelous have declined because for them, their focus is on putting out games like that, like a Deadcraft instead of a Sinner and Kagura, when a Sinner and Kagura would sell, when people would buy that, right? Kenichiro Takaki's now at Side Games. Side Games isn't the only game. Side Games working on what? Grand Blue Fantasy or something like that. When are we ever gonna get that? Right? I mean, I'm looking forward to it. With Takaki there, I'm thinking it's gonna have some quality stuff. The shekel is gonna be real. The Demon X Machina is such a shame. Could have done so much better if not for Marvelous copyright claims every video with any sort of footage, regardless if it was fair use or not. And I do not stand for that. I think if they're copyright claiming that's some nonsense. Yeah, agreed, Shadow King. Agreed. If they're copyright claiming stuff like that, I think that's nonsense, because that's basically you're blocking free press. That's free marketing for your game, and if you're blocking that, then you're on some BS. You're on some straight up BS. And again, as I say, this is the thing. This is how it is, right? This is how it is. This is the world we live in. We live in a world right now where companies are trying to make products for everyone, right? Instead of thinking that some people like this and some people like that, and we can make stuff for people who like this, and we can make stuff for people who like that, and it'll be perfectly fine, right? For example, right, when you go to a restaurant here in the UK, if I go to get some peri-peri chicken, right, the guy asked me, hey, do you want it, how do you want your chicken? Do you want it hot? Do you want it mild? Do you want it very hot? Do you want it not hot at all? Just lemon and herb. You have a choice. You give options to people. And some people who want lemon and herb will get lemon and herb. And some people who want it hot will get it hot. Like for me, I like my food hot and spicy. But not because I like my food hot and spicy shouldn't mean that all food should be hot and spicy. And not because I like I don't like lemon and herb doesn't mean all food should not be lemon and herb. Or lemon and herb lemon and herb should not be an option. The copyright claim was only one game issue. The game was just not good. Wow. I got the game on Epic Store for free and I haven't played it yet. Same for me, Nalu. I've got it on Epic as well and haven't played it yet. Again, I have to say though, Ace with the slander. I have to point this out. Shadow and Ace, you know, I love you guys in the comments, but I have to say one thing. I have to point out one thing. You guys have a crown next to your name in my streams. And I see no waifu next to you, no subscribbles. Y'all know, is it because the slander to games of waifu proportions? Is it? You know, I have no subscription from you guys and my feelings are hurt, right? You guys talk about, you know, if a Senran and Kagura game comes out from a spiritual successor, Q, you gotta support that. Yeah, I'll support my shit. But don't you guys appreciate me? Right? Shouldn't you guys support the goodness that I take the time to come up here for this beautiful time? And I've got a stream later. Today's Thursday, isn't it? Is it Thursday? No, it's Wednesday. Ooh, I don't have a stream later. I may still come back and stream a game though. I may come back later and stream a game. Who knows? We'll see how it goes. We'll see how my afternoon goes out. Will depend. I do want to turn this into a video first. Nalu, I got the game on Epic Game Store for free and I haven't played it yet. Fine, I was getting sick of the ads. That's what I'm saying, Ace. Drop that subscribe in, buddy. Oh boy, keeps going there. That's what Nalu. I know it with my boy Nalu. I don't even have to think about it. My boy Nalu. My boy Nalu shows our support on the regs. The love, the appreciation. You know, whenever I see Nalu come in the chat, I feel like, you know what? The stream's about to get good. You know, here's the people that appreciate the appreciation that is there. All that kind of good stuff. You know, I love my boy Ace too. Ace comes in. He's a regular. He comes in. He has a conversation. And Shadow King, you've been great today. You've come in here. You've done the good stuff. We've had a great conversation and all that kind of good stuff. I love to have you in here. And here's the thing, right? If you guys can't afford it, it's all good. I see the crown and I say, you know what? With a crown being there, whoo! The crown is like, it's a free Prime subscription. You don't have to spend anything. You know, it's all good. I see Ace with a subscriber. Thank you, Ace. Appreciate it. Ooh, you know. For whatever reason, I can't hear the audio that's playing. Is my headset off? I think my headset died. I haven't charged this headset. Yeah, my headset died. Shout out to Ace with a subscriber. 11 months, Ace. That's what we're talking about. We gotta make this a dynasty. 12. Let's make it a whole year, buddy, of subscribers. You know? That's what I'm talking about. Okay, I'm back. Dynasty, what's going on, man? What's going on? Just back from cooking, eating my meals, and popping my laundry in the dryer. LOL. Thank you for the subscriber, Ace. We appreciate you around these parts, good sir. You're a legend, you know? You're a legend. Accept the slander, but we appreciate that too. We appreciate the slander. The conversation is good. What I am gonna do is I'm gonna wrap up the video portion of this so I can like condense it and put it on YouTube. So, and then we'll just continue the conversation for a little bit longer. But so thank you very much for those of you who watched this video over on the YouTube channel. Hopefully we'll catch you guys in the streams. Go over to Twitch, Simply Binge on Twitch. You'll find us streaming on there. And so that's twitch.com, or is it twitch.tv/Simply Binge. You find us there, and there'll probably be a link in the description as well. You can find us streaming. Usually our streams are on a Monday and a Thursday, but sometimes you'll find us on different days. Today, at the time of streaming this, it is on a Wednesday. I'm gonna try to be as often as possible with these streams. I'm gonna try to put up as you know, with press events and all that kind of stuff. Try to have more of these kind of conversations if you guys enjoy it. Right? It seems like we're having a good time here. I think that those of you in the chat can agree with me. But yes, again, if you watch this on YouTube, thanks. Hopefully you guys give it a like, you know, put a subscribe to the channel if you want to see more stuff like this. If you want to see more conversations like this, you know, leave a comment. I want to know what you guys think. And even if you disagree with me, explain why you disagree with me in great detail, and I will respond, you know, because that's what we do around these parts. But anyway, with that being said, thank you very much for those of you who've been here. I appreciate you guys a lot, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.